And you've taken a stand, many people, some of the campaigners are here, but you've taken a stand as an individual scaffolder with your own company, and the judge has just said that you're right and that the adjudicator, well, he said the adjudicator's right, and in the case up till 2021. That's an enormous thing. That's for 5 years. That
5
means.
years, that's unlawful, yes.
5 years when people have been paying to low emission zone charges, that it's back the adjudicator's point. You were right. No one's going to go against the adjudicator on this. This is a county court. There are obviously options, but right now it seems like, and to Howard's point, that everyone should now be submitting a challenge based on up until now 2021. Would you say that's right?
Well, absolutely. I mean, look, the bottom line is that this wasn't a victory for me personally, yeah? But what it was a victory for everybody else, yeah, because everybody else is going to be entitled. So I'm pretty much a man of my word. What I said that I was going to do, you know, is what I've stood up and I've done, and I've taken on one of the biggest, you know, transport networks that we have here in the UK, and I mean, you've seen how they operate. You know, they're very misleading. They have come on very, very heavy with me. You know, it's all these sorts of things. Today they didn't push the costs. You know, they tried to hit me with costs as well, right at the 11th hour to get me to drop this. The bottom line is that the judge here today has done the right thing, and he has, you know, categorically stated that these signs are not lawful.
And every London driver is grateful for what you've done.
Thank you, Howard. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
We've also got Simon Forthrop, who's a councillor, Conservative councillor, that's been very involved in some of these challenges to what's going on with the low emission zones, ultra low emission zone as well. What's your takeaway from this, Simon?
Well, first of all, the TfL has been acting in what they call ultra vires. So they don't have authority to actually implement those fines because the signage was wrong. Now it's interesting, isn't it, that Bromley, along with 4 other councils, took the Mayor of London and TfL to court, and we said the signs are wrong. So basically, Mayor Khan, TfL, we want our money back for you actually being wrong, because the signs are wrong, and you owe us, I think, about £240,000 for every council that participated in that. So give us our money back, and anybody else that's out there, my advice is put in a claim. But also, you need to put in a claim that is correct, because just saying, oh, it's illegal is no good. You have to do what Noel did, which is actually prove the signs are illegal. And I can tell you how to do it, and I'll tell you how to do it. If you go on to Google Maps and you go into the street scene view, you can see the signs firsthand, and you can see what they were back in 2016 and what they are today, and you can actually see that they are still illegal. So my advice to everybody, go and get those maps, go and get the signs that you've been caught at, and put in a claim, because the more claims the better, because the scheme is ultra vires. Thank you.
Great. So just some reflections on that. I think everyone should do that, by the way, and we should get that up on the site, and we'll carry on arguing this thing. I just want to say that, you know, in some ways you hope you come out and we win the whole thing right the way through, but these things are incremental. They try to flop on you with a whole bundle of documents the night before last. They leave.
Well, you saw it this morning when we arrived this morning. I had a court bundle, you know, slapped on me.
And they do it really at the end. And it's this whole idea, the contempt for the public, contempt for everyday people, right? This is part of a bigger question that we've got in Britain, which is everyday people are being pushed to the side, sidelined, be quiet, shut up, do as you're told. But these people don't want to do things according to the law. They want to say, well, we'll make our own rules up when there are laws. You've brought it to their attention. But this is a significant step forward, right? These steps forward are big, right? As you say, it impacts everyone. Maybe not just your case, but it impacts everyone. This is a huge step forward. What do you see now in terms of how people, I hear Simon's points, what would you say?
I mean, look, firstly, you know, I wanted to do this on my own. Yeah, which is what I did. I didn't want barristers and I didn't want lawyers and all that sort of stuff. I've had a great support network around me. Thank you to everybody that has supported me through this and believed in absolutely everything that I have said, because everybody has reinforced. Because sometimes in these circumstances you think, am I going mad or what? Because the writing's on the wall, and what I wanted to prove and show to everybody today, you can do it. And it's actually all right to say no. Yeah, because we're all sick to death of this overbearing state that's just breathing down us. Everywhere that we go, it's regulation, it's tax, it's this, it's that. Really just step back, have a real look at, you know, what do the signs say? Whatever it is that somebody's going through, I hope that they take inspiration from me, that you are perfectly able to turn around and say no. Yeah. And that's all it is. The law is there. The law is there in black and white, and we've seen it today with the judge. You know, with everything that people talk about when they talk about two-tier justice, etc., etc. I was very, very apprehensive of coming into court today, and I really did think that the judge was just going to, you know, blow me off or whatever, just be like, I'm not interested. But he was actually quite a fair judge today, and he really did stick to the facts, didn't he? Yeah. And it was the facts that were there in front of him. And he said, had you had these auto pay payments prior to this date, I would gladly, you know, grant that to you.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, being a layman, I was frustrated because you think, well, if it's correct up until that point and the signs haven't been changed, then it's correct moving forward. I understand that this particular judge doesn't want to take responsibility in law for that, setting that precedent, because he might feel out of his scope, and he wants the adjudicator to say what he's already said about them already, but he wants them to repeat them about moving forwards. To most commoners, that sounds mental, because you're like, well, either they're right or they're wrong, right? And they've carried on. But we all can see what's gone on here with the situation that they out there keep imposing these things. We should say a few things as well. We've campaigned so hard, everyone, all the people here, Nick Arlett's here as well, a lot of the campaigners that have done this. We got the Department of Transport to stop the funding for livable streets and for active travel. This new government has reimposed it, even though it's saying it's going to pull back against the green impacts. We know that net zero is going to shut us down. We've had a year since Sadiq Khan now has done his year report on how successful ultra low emission zone is, but they lied about the clean air. We did that report with Ben Pyle. They have green billionaires. We've got people like Noel, people like Nick and Howard and Simon, and people that have been either voted in or campaigning, everyday people up and down the country, decent backbone of British people. And then you've got people like Mike Bloomberg and Christopher Hone, green billionaires. People want to talk about Elon Musk, right? But green billionaires that are funding C40 cities, that are penetrating local authorities and imposing all sorts of schemes and measures that we don't want and we've argued against in Bath, in Oxford, in Bristol, in Edinburgh, in Glasgow. They call us all names. They call us far right. They call us, you know, conspiracy. Very clear, right? This is everyday decent people who've got businesses, families, disabled, women, young and old, who said, we don't want these things, we don't want these schemes, they don't add up. But they're funding them, there's funding research, and they're stopping other people having this debate. In China, you know these things are going on, but here, it's kept under the wraps. You've done something really important today to bring this to light and to give us a sense we can do something. We want to encourage everyone together. I think it hasn't stopped here, right? You should all go out and challenge this and bring it up. There'll be more that Noel will come up. We'll do it on our site together. We'll all be doing some things. And it isn't going to stop here, right? We're going to keep fighting back. There's 3 hour streets. People think that it's all finished now, right? We just saw what they did in Bristol. We know that people are campaigning up and down the country still against this. And like with the farmers, and like with our pensioners, and like with everything, our drivers, we're all in this together. There's a few technocrats that are accusing us and telling us to limit and shut down and be quiet. We're not having it. And you've done a great thing today to do this.
Thank you.
And we're all going to carry on challenging. I suppose any last thoughts to people, or what, like, next steps?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm going to go back and I'm going to reflect, you know, on my position here. As you know, I've set up a website to help people who are going through these things, and actually how I did it. And there's a lot of vital information, you know, that's on that website, which is www.ulezdisputes.com. There's a lot of useful information on there on how I actually did this. And it really was just starting from all the way down the bottom, and just really just chipping away and chipping away and chipping away. The fact of the matter is that there is a major issue with these signs. That is the bottom line, yeah? Because when you look at the legislation, you have the ones that are prescribed, and then you have these non-standard signs. And the non-standard signs are the ones that have been implemented, yeah? And this is just to cause confusion and chaos amongst so many different drivers. I mean, I was saying to you earlier on, when I'm driving down the road now, I'm spending more time looking at road signs than I am actually on the road.
Or potholes.
Or potholes, yeah. I mean, you know, this is absolutely insane. Why don't we just have one standard for absolutely everyone? You know, you drive around the country.
Well, there is a standard, they're just not using it.
There is, yeah, exactly.
Well, also, we've got 17 billion worth of potholes up and down the country. These things are all linked, right, in terms of our transport infrastructure questions, in terms of what local authorities are doing about cash grabs, about surveillance, impositions, limits, and not actually doing the job that the state should do and local authorities should do in terms of infrastructure. we know that people are furious about this. We'll definitely be backing that. Repeat the name of the website again for people.
www.ulez disputes, but this is only the low emission zone.
Yeah.
It was just because it was all to do with the domain,
Yeah.
.com. So, and if anyone goes Noel Willcox, it will all come up.
Transport for London should be providing transport for London, not telling us to get on our bikes. And by the way, I cycled it this morning. I love cycling. But my mum's disabled, she ain't cycling. The plumber can't do what David Lammy said and get on the bus with his tools or her tools, right? We need to be mobile and free. We're not going back to toll booths in hamlets in medieval society, right? You're all nuts. Transport for London, you're on notice. And by the way, whilst you're at it, why don't you have a look at that kind of air pollution down there in the underground, right? That everyone's been talking about. The other thing, Mr. Khan, Sadiq Khan, who talks about wanting to have London open, all of these things are suffocating us. We've got gridlock on our roads, we've got impacts across the board everywhere, and it's stifling us to be at 6 miles an hour, surveying us. And now, look, lo and behold, what we might have is facial recognition linked to our cars and to our addresses and data. A lot of people are very uncomfortable, and rightly we should be. Let's make sure you have your voices heard. We've got local elections coming up in a third of the country, right? So your council elections are coming up. Put it to your councillors where they stand on this situation. Do they want to have us free and mobile? Are they going to support that against net zero? We've also obviously got this ongoing battle, right? So let's stay tuned with what we're going to do. We will be sharing what's going on in the London Assembly now, because I understand that Mayor Sadiq Khan's going to have a question put to him about this situation.
Yes.
So we'll be watching that video. And don't think this has gone away, right? And don't think, you know, so Rachel Williams is talking about what she's got to do with the green situation because the economy's not working. Well, let's get our roads back. Let's get driving again. Let's get this once great engineering nation innovating and dynamic and wealth creating for everyone, not suffocating us all, shutting us down and trying to make us be in 15 or 20-minute cities where we can't move about. There aren't any GPs anyway. We're not having it. It hasn't gone away. And it's the same fight across the board that we've got with the farmers and everything, which is that lot, that few, think they can impose it on all of us, the great British public, and we're not having it anymore. Noel, well done, mate.
Can I just say one thing in support of what Alan's just said and what Noel's just said? Next week I'm publishing a poll of 88,000 drivers. And we've asked questions like, will they buy an EV and what they think of net zero, all those sorts of things. And also, a little thing about you.
Thank you.
No, it'd be nice and that sort of thing. But the important thing is, you are supported and we should support Noel big time. And I'm going to say it again, thank you, Noel, for what you've done.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well done, mate.
Thank you.